that's the cycle, the roller coaster that we're talking about, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm the man. And then you come down here and you're like, oh shit, I have no money or business. That's the cycle that we're trying to
Yeah.
prevent. So you just have to have your non-negotiables every day and keep them level. And no matter how much money you have or how many deals you have under contract at once, you have to keep going through.
Welcome to the Five Questions podcast, where we unlock real estate and business insights one question at a time.
Hi there, this is Wise here from SaveMax Superstars Realty, the wise guy of real estate. If you are a buyer on the fence, waiting to buy, this is the time to buy. What are you waiting for? So why should you buy? Here are a couple of reasons. We've got skyrocketing inventory, we have low interest rates, and we've got sellers desperate to sell. And in this market, you can definitely get a good deal. So if you're looking to buy in Ontario or Dubai, I'm your guy, the wise guy of real estate. Call me at 416-876-9960. Get your deal done.
Welcome to the Five Questions podcast. I am your host, Mario Lamar. Our guest on today's show is an experienced real estate professional with licenses in Arizona, California, and Florida. She combines her expertise in the fast-paced Miami market with the luxury Scottsdale scene, offering practical, no-nonsense advice to help others succeed in business and life. Welcome, Lauren Aus. Lauren, welcome to the show today.
Thank you so much, Mario. It's nice to be here. I appreciate you having me.
The concept of the podcast, Lauren, is very simple. 5 questions, either about business or real estate, and we get straight to the point. You ready?
Love it.
All
Very
right.
direct.
Let's start with the first one. Lauren, you've navigated real estate in Arizona, California, and Florida. What do you find is the biggest difference in these markets, and how do you adjust your approach accordingly?
The biggest difference is understanding the contract, the lingo, what ancillary documents you need, because our job as a real estate agent is to make sure that the transaction feels seamless. So when you step into a new market, you might know the laws, such as do you have to disclose if someone's been murdered or if there's a suicide in the house, because that's
Yeah.
always the first thing I try to learn.
Yeah.
But other than that, everything is so detailed and it's so different. And I hate to say that it's really hard not to compare. So as you're moving along through the transaction, you're understanding how it does work in your primary market. And then you're sitting there in your secondary market, or I don't work in my third market, but in my secondary market, I'm like, this doesn't make sense. Like, how do you get this done? Why is it like this? And I feel like that is the biggest change. And so if anybody is planning on working in another state and another city, like be open minded, try not to compare everything, just take it for what it is. My biggest blessing is that I hired a transaction coordinator in Florida so that I didn't have to take time to like sit and go through the process in pain. I could just have her do everything, make it look seamless up front, and then in the behind the scenes, I'm sitting there asking all my questions. I'm trying to understand what is going on, because what you learn in school is not what you learn in real life, as we all know.
Yeah.
And so that's the hardest piece, is making yourself feel like an expert when you're brand new in the market but not new to real estate.
You know, you said something, and I truly agree with you, is you have to make the transaction seamless to the client. So knowing how to shift, the process and what the things you have to do behind the scenes, so the client doesn't realize, oh, you work also in Florida or Miami or Arizona or whatever the state is. That is the experience that people are looking for. That's what makes the difference between a good real estate agent and a great one.
Yeah, it's I will be very honest, it is tricky, and you have to almost unlearn what you know, but at the same time keep like your sharpness, your edge,
Yeah.
have that sophistication to you that makes you feel like the expert. I mean, you can like, sorry, but you can like shit your pants behind the scenes, right? Like, oh my God, what is going on right now?
Yeah,
As long as you have somebody who is like super sturdy to lean on. So yeah, for me, that has been my biggest shift within the markets is like, I learned one thing and now I have to take on something else, but still remember how it goes in both markets is the same, but very different.
absolutely. That brings
Yeah.
us to our second question. You describe yourself as a no fluff meets real talk. How does this mindset shape the way you approach your real estate deals and client relationships?
I would say that the no fluff meets real talk merges at this place of trust and relatability. And when people have those two things, they feel like they can work with you because the no fluff means that they're going to get somebody who's very direct and who's very honest.
Yeah.
The real talk means that I'm also not going to sugarcoat and pretend that things aren't what they are. And I have no problem having the hard conversations because once you do enough deals and you've been in the business long enough, hard conversations are a good chunk of your business, and learning how to really reflect on what has been messed up in the past and how you can take those lessons and start implementing them to anticipate the needs of what people are going to need in the future is what is going to help you get there. But I think because I do that after every transaction, it helps me become relatable and trustworthy. Yeah, it's sometimes you have to mirror too. Like I don't know if you mirror your clients, but like when you mirror somebody, right? Like if they're dropping a lot of F bombs, I'll drop an F bomb and sometimes they're like, "Whoa, whoa, you cut? Like what are you doing?" And that makes them feel seen and heard because we're on the same level rather than I'm super professional and they're themselves. So you also have to level with them. So I
Yeah.
found that mirroring is also a really good tactic. If you don't use it, you should probably consider it.
Yeah, that's a great sales tactics that a lot of top salesmen use. You need to mirror your clients. But that's I deal with a lot of investors, right? And investors, that's what they're looking for. A real estate agent that is true and will also not hide the fact that maybe they shouldn't buy this building because the area sucks for what they're trying to achieve. Knowing your client and being able to give them proper counsels is key to being successful.
Yeah, and when you say not buying the building, that's for your personal opinion, your professional opinion, and then what you see on paper. Maybe it's in an inspection report. Maybe it's the area is not that great or they can't get the rent that they want. Like there's a lot of pieces that go
Yeah,
into why they shouldn't buy the building. And if you can convey it, obviously in a professional manner, but in a trustworthy, relatable, no fluff way.
yeah,
I don't know. It's also another little thing I've been doing lately is asking the client when I have information to deliver to them. I'll ask, how do you like to receive information? And every single person laughs and they feel very put on the spot, which is not the goal. And they laugh and they're like, I don't know. No one's ever asked me that before. And they kind of get like, especially the girls, they get a little giggly. I'm like, okay. And then I give them examples.
yeah.
I'll say, do you want something direct? Do you need something fluffy? Do you need it through analogies, through examples and stories? Like paint a picture. What is it that you need? And every single person, every single time will say, just shoot me straight. Just give it to me
Yeah.
directly. And that helps because that's how I communicate. But if you give somebody the option and you lay it out and paint the picture of all the different ways they can receive information, they don't want the bullshit. They
Oh,
want
yeah.
it because it's you're dealing with money, you're dealing with their properties, you're dealing with their investments. And so I feel like that softens the blow also. You need to deliver a message. So I'm always trying new things, but those are the two things. No fluff for me, and I always want to be real. Those are my two things, and it works for me.
Yeah, absolutely. I think it's the best way. Let's just tell me how it is and then we'll deal with it.
Yes,
That br
100%.
that brings us to our third question. And you've been in the industry since 2008. You've seen market crashes, rebounds. What key lessons do you learn from these tough times that help you build your current success?
Um, whew, that's a loaded question, to be honest with you. Number one, which every person says that's probably been in the business a lot longer than you, is to save your money and live below your means. Because when you have a high, such as COVID days, those highs don't last for very
Yeah.
long. And if it's the first curve you're going through, you don't know any better. You're so excited. You see all this money in your bank account. Oh my gosh, I can afford everything, no
Yeah.
problem. And then all of a sudden, time chips away, your dollars chip away, and then you're at the bottom of this and you're like, oh shit, I have no business. I thought I could live large for a little while. I relaxed, right? Like somebody, this very seasoned agent in Scottsdale, when I first got in the business, I was in a networking group with quite a few people, and she had made a comment that really stuck with me, which is, when I put something under contract, I work harder. And I feel like most people put something, even if it's just one, under contract, and they're like, oh, I can
Yeah.
relax for a little while. No problem. I have one under contract.
Yeah.
And it's like, when you do the math for what it is that you have to give away and what you actually take home, it's so minimal. So you need to learn to save your money, and you need to learn to live below your means, because that money will run out.
Yeah.
I would say number two is, don't lose your edge. Try to stay sharp, try to stay competitive, like not to the point where you're going to kill yourself, but try to stay with it, because I think it's easy to get relaxed, and that's the cycle, the roller coaster that we're talking about, right? It's like, oh yeah, I'm the man, and then you come down here and you're like, oh shit, I have no money or business. That's the cycle that we're trying to
Yeah.
prevent. So you just have to have your non-negotiables every day and keep them level. And no matter how much money you have or how many deals you have under contract at once, you have to keep going through.
You said something, keep your edge. And I don't want to break the process of the 5 questions podcast, but I'm going to throw an extra little question. How important is it for someone to get with the changes, to keep the edge? Like, some people have been doing it for a long time. They use paper, they use boards, they use, signs to promote themselves. And now we're at an age where if you don't use social media, if you don't use AI, you're left behind. What's your thought on that?
I feel like I've been that person where it's like I was resistant to the change because I didn't want to change. I liked what I was doing. It worked for me. I didn't really see a reason to change. I'm not that old that I shouldn't have been open to change, but it was just a like, you're comfortable where you are.
Yeah.
And if that is not using AI, now if somebody's 65 and they're like, oh, I want to go get on Instagram, I'm probably going to suggest that they don't, right? Like that's probably not going to be their bread and butter, if you will. But I do think that there's certain things that you should be open-minded about to understand how it can benefit your business. And it's like turning that switch on to receive the information. Now, if you receive the information and you don't feel like it's going to do anything for you, totally fine. But it's not going to hurt to try,
Yeah.
or to give it 3 months and at least see what the experience is. Because if you can open your mind, which unlocks more business, like why wouldn't you do that?
Yeah.
So yeah,
Absolutely.
AI is a tricky one because not all everybody's open to it. It still feels like new, even though it's been around for a while.
I know. That brings us to our 4th question. Your book, Entrepreneurial Insights, is filled with powerful quotes. Which one has had the most significant impact in your journey?
So I put some personal quotes in there, both from myself and from my father. And something he told me when I was growing up is, you he put it in shopping terms, which are Lauren terms, which is, everything in life is just an accessory if you're happy with yourself. And I love that because it's
Mhm.
telling me that the foundation of life, of everything, relationships, business, friendship, whatever, that's the foundation. Is like, if you're not happy with you, then you're going to see the world in a different place. You can go get the car, you can go get the haircut, you can go make the money, you can go whatever, but like none of those things are going to make you happy because the foundation is so broken. And so when I think about kind of going through life with like, my fake shopping cart, like pulling in like, oh, I like this car, oh, I want this experience, it's like, am I doing this to fill a void, or am I doing this because it's going to enhance and enrich my life?
Yeah.
And I think asking that question is a hard one. And it's hard to admit if you're not that happy or you're a little broken and empty. But it also should be encouraging to do some work and find out who you are, what your goals are, morals, ethics, who, like, that's where confidence comes in, right? Like, how can you be confident if you don't know who you are? So although that's by nobody famous, that is my favorite quote in the book.
Listen, don't say nobody famous, because he's famous to you. And see, you shared his quote that might probably help a lot of people out there. So he is
Absolutely.
famous. But he's, your dad is right, was right. If you don't start by being well within yourself, feel confident, how can you have a successful business? How can you have a successful relationship? It starts within you. Everything else is it's true. It's just
Mm-hmm.
extra, right? And a
It
lot
is
of
extra.
people try to portray a life that, you know, they have, with successful stuff, a lot of toys, but really, how are you inside? I know for a lot of people that are successful, and we're not always like that, their success came when they started thinking of themselves first and making sure they were okay, and then their life took off. So
Yeah.
I agree 100%.
It's definitely easier said than done. In the trying
Oh
times,
yeah.
it's challenging, if you feel defeated, if you feel like, what am I doing here? Am I worthy of this? What's your money story? There's so many things to work on and so many angles to take this depth of your character. And so that's why it's very important to really dig deep and get to know who you are without the distractions, because
Yeah.
we live in a world of so many distractions. And it's sad because it's very easy to just try to fill happiness by buying things and having experiences. And at the end of the day, you go shopping, you come home, and you have $10,000 worth of handbags and shoes on the floor, and you're like, I feel no better. And I
Yeah.
just wasted 10 grand.
You said another thing you said that I love is it's not easy.
It's not
I
easy.
think automatically I think of athletes at the Olympics. It's not easy
Mm.
to get there. You don't see all the work that they do. You just see the week-long shows that they put on TV. But if it was easy, everybody would be an athlete. But there's
Oh,
only,
yeah.
a handful of people that are there. So it is not easy. The same of becoming a great person that fulfills you for who you are and that brings you success. It's not easy. It's going to take work. It's going to take changes in your life. It's going to take, um one of my mentor, how does he put it? You got to be willing to do the things now for the life that people are not willing to do for the life that people want to live tomorrow.
Mm. I have heard that. That is a good one. That's a great reminder.
Yeah. So,
That is a great reminder.
well,
I love that.
Lauren, we got to go to the fifth question for today,
Okay.
final one. What's the one thing you wish more real estate professionals knew when starting out, and that could help them avoid costly mistakes?
I mean, do I have to choose one thing?
I'll give you three. You can say three things.
I think number one would be that real estate is not easy. It's just not. And I think going back to what we were just talking about, which is people think that you get a real estate license. Not only does the business come, but you get a million followers on social media. You're popular, you're famous, you have a TV show, and you're making millions of dollars every year. And it's
We
not
all
like that. And
we
it
all
is
want
not.
to we all want to be Ryan.
I know, but think about how much work that he put into it.
Yeah,
Like it didn't just happen. He didn't just wake up one day and say, "This is the empire I want." He
yeah.
worked on it, and it takes decades to get there. So yeah, so I think that's number one. I just had that experience with an agent myself, so that's why it's fresh in my head. The other one is communication, and it's not just communication with your client, but it's communication with the people that you interact with throughout the transaction. If you're checking on something for someone, you just simply say like, "I'm checking, I'll get back to you."
Yeah.
It's so easy rather than just not responding, or especially leaving it unread and not responding. And then on the other hand, you've got clients who have maybe never purchased, as I'm experiencing right now, in the United States, or they've never purchased in that state in general because they're from somewhere else, or maybe they're just brand new to buying real estate, right? When you have those first time buyers coming in, it's so important to explain everything to them. And even if they're seasoned, if they're not buying left and right or at least a property a year, they don't know what to anticipate and they're scared.
Yeah.
And they are scared. And your job is to prevent the mystery, because there's nothing tangible about real estate except for the house and the keys. Those are the only two things. And everything else just feels like this cluster along the way. So if you aren't organized to give people the smooth transaction that we talked about, then it's not a good experience and you're not going to have the repeat business. But I think most of it stems from communication, because you and I are in this business all day, every day, almost 2 decades over here, which means the things I don't think I need to explain are probably the things I need to explain the most. They feel obvious to me because I live, breathe, see, dream, eat real estate, right? But for them, it's brand new.
Yeah.
And so finding a way to make sure that your clients feel comfortable and over communicate without overwhelming them, but always make sure that you're in touch with them, I feel like that would just help everybody a lot more.
Lauren, it was a great conversation we had together today. I wish that I not wish, I hope that some people will take a piece of your wisdom with them on their journey. And I hope that we'll get to talk to each other soon again. I'm sure we will.
Yes. Thank you, Mario. Thank you for sticking around and watching. Appreciate it.
Thanks for tuning in to the 5 Questions podcast. If you enjoyed today's episode, don't forget to subscribe, like, and hit the notification bell on our YouTube channel so you never miss an episode. Stay tuned for more insights and tips to transform your real estate and business game. See you next time.